Hey everyone, my name is Philip and I'm 26 years old. 4 years ago, I made one decision that turned my entire family against me. While everyone around me chased comfortable office jobs, I spent every dollar I had on an old, rusty food truck parked behind a forgotten warehouse in Chicago. My older brother, Henry, laughed and said I'd just bought the most expensive mistake of my life. My father looked at me with disappointment and told me I'd be begging for my old job within 6 months. They believed I had ruined my future, but they never imagined that one broken food truck would one day become the reason our family would never struggle again. This isn't just the story of a business, it's the story of rejection, sacrifice, second chances, and proving that sometimes the craziest dream is the one worth chasing. This is my story. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, in a family where security always came before dreams. My father had spent more than 30 years working in the same manufacturing company. He wasn't rich, but he was proud that he had never missed a paycheck. Since I was a child, he always repeated the same sentence: a steady job will never betray you. My older brother, Henry, believed every word. He graduated from college, landed a corporate job, bought a new car, and became the family's biggest success. Whenever relatives visited our house, they praised Henry. Now that's a young man with a future. Then they would look at me. So, Phillip, when are you going to stop dreaming and start living? I would smile politely. But inside, I already knew something they didn't. I wasn't made for a desk. I wasn't made to spend 40 years waiting for weekends. I wanted to build something that belonged to me. Something people would remember. For years, I kept that dream hidden. The next morning, I drove back before sunrise. The truck was still there. An elderly man stepped out of the nearby warehouse. He smiled and said, "Thinking about buying it?" I nodded. He explained that he had owned the truck for almost 20 years. The moment I parked in the driveway, Henry walked outside. He looked at the truck, then at me, and suddenly burst into laughter. "You quit your office job? For this?" My father slowly stepped onto the porch. He didn't laugh. His silence hurt even more. After nearly a minute, he quietly asked, "Please tell me you didn't spend all your savings on that thing." I took a deep breath, looked him straight in the eyes, and answered honestly, "Yes, Dad, every single dollar." His shoulders dropped. He closed his eyes for a moment, then whispered words I would never forget. "Philip, you've just thrown your future away." I looked back at the rusty food truck, smiled to myself, and quietly replied, "No, Dad, I think I just found it." Philip spent the next 3 days cleaning and repairing the old food truck himself. On opening day, hours passed without a single customer. Just as he was about to give up, a construction worker ordered a burger. Before leaving, the man smiled and said, "I'll be back tomorrow." Those 5 words gave Philip hope. That evening, Henry asked, "So, how many customers? 2? Maybe 3? Philip didn't argue. He simply smiled and said, "1 today, more tomorrow." Henry laughed. Dreamers never learn, no matter how cold, rainy, or slow business was. Philip opened his food truck every single morning before sunrise. People started recognizing him. Slowly, 1 customer became 5. 5 became 20. One afternoon, a food blogger recorded a short video of Philip making burgers. The caption read, "The best hidden burger in Chicago." Within hours, thousands of people had watched it. The next morning, a long line waited outside his truck. Henry drove past the food truck on his way to work. He couldn't believe what he saw. People were waiting nearly an hour just to order food. For the first time, he stopped laughing. A local event organizer invited Philip to serve food at Chicago's biggest weekend food festival. It was the biggest opportunity of his life. Failure wasn't an option. The festival was packed, but halfway through the day, the truck's generator stopped working. Philip thought everything was over. Instead of quitting, he found a solution and kept serving customers. A local news reporter noticed Philip's determination. The next evening, his story appeared on television. Overnight, the whole city knew his name. Henry quietly visited the food truck. He looked at Philip and said, "I was wrong about you." It was the first sincere apology Philip had ever heard from his brother. After months of hard work, Philip bought his second food truck. This time, he paid for it in cash. Philip's father secretly visited during lunch. He watched customers smiling after every meal. Before leaving, he whispered, "I'm proud of you, son." A second truck became 3, then 4. Philip started hiring people who needed a second chance. His dream became bigger than himself. For the first time in years, the whole family shared dinner together. There was no arguing, no judging, only respect. Philip began serving free meals every Sunday to families struggling to make ends meet. Success meant more when it helped others. Philip realized something important. People don't always laugh because your dream is impossible. Sometimes they laugh because they can't. Imagine it becoming real. 4 years after buying that rusty old food truck, Philip stood outside his growing business, surrounded by employees, loyal customers, and his family. Henry smiled. His father shook his hand. Philip looked at the same old truck that had started it all and quietly said, "The dream they laughed at became the future they never saw coming."